Hello, my name is Rosario, and I will be presenting an export operation. I'm going to start with the company and the merchandise to be exported, including the selected Incoterms, the mode of transport, the payment methods, and more requirements needed for this operation. On this slide, I'm going to be presenting the company, its origin, its current position in the market, and its readiness to engage in the international trade as it begins to expand itself to foreign markets. The Morris Company was originated as a small sugar business in Galileo Jujuy, who is located in the sugarcane growing region of northern Argentina. Initially, it served as a supplier for a small local bakery. However, over time, it has evolved into one of the largest companies in the country, becoming a leader in sugar production. Currently, the company supplies more than half of the nation's sugar demand. Now I'm going to talk about the present. In the present, Mora's company is an agro-industrial company, a leader in the production of sugar, paper, and with a significant presence in the market to fruit and citrus juices, alcohol, bioethanol, meat, and cereals. The company is no longer being only for sugar, involved from selling only sugar to almost sell a wide range of sugarcane derived products. Anything that has to do with sugarcane, they'll be doing it. Not only sugar, we expanded. It began as a small company and has now become one of the largest providers in the country, although its international presence remains limited. So, because of this reason, we will open doors to the new world, and for this reason, we are seeking to expand into foreign markets. We have already initiated small-scale export to white sugar to Uruguay, and our next objective is to enter a new continent, specifically New Zealand. Since Uruguay was a border country with Argentina, it wasn't easy, wasn't anything like that, but we wanted to be on the big game. Our first major export will be shipping 22,000 bags of refined sugar, 1 kilos each, in a 20-feet dry van container. The shipment will be transported by sea under CFR condition, and let's now take a look at the next slide, which shows what the Incoterm is about. So, in this slide, I will explain the selected Incoterm, its meaning, and the obligation established for each of the parties involved in the transaction. Incoterm CFR. The Incoterm CFR is exclusive to maritime or inland waterway transport and remains unchanged in Incoterm 2020 under this term. The seller assumes the cost up to the port of destination, but the risk is transferred to the buyer when goods are loaded on board the ship at the port of origin. Now I'm going to be explaining specifically which obligation everyone has. The seller main obligation are delivery of good and commercial document, proper packaging and preparation, domestic transport in the country of origin, export custom clearance, post cross of origin, contracting and payment of international maritime freight. Once he did this stuff, his obligations are done. He will not be charged of anything else. Once the good arrives at the port of the nation, all the obligation of the buyer side begins. From that point, the buyer is responsible for unloading the goods and stock it himself. Now, the buyer obligations are the payment for the goods according to the contract, part expenses of destination like unloading the good, handling charges, and any additional costs. Import clearance, payment of taxes and tariff, inland transport to destination. This is because the seller obligation and once the merchandise has reached the port of destination, anything that happens from the port of destination is on the buyer. Seller will do nothing. He won't be liable to anything. He will not have to do anything else. In this slide, I will be explaining why I selected this mode of transport, the reason of my decision, and why it's the most suitable option for my operation. Why I Why to choose sea transport? Since we need to transport large quantity, but there is no pressure to deliver quickly, shipping by sea is pretty suitable. We can ship large volume at low cost, since a freight forwarder can consolidate consignment to reduce costs, and it's also much better for container transportation, which is our case. And all of consignment must be accompanied by a bill of lading. And I would like to verify that I choose this transport mode because it's one of our first operation. And the priority is ensuring that everything is carried out correctly and without any complication. In this case, the time is not important. What truly matters is safety, like the good will be delivered correctly. So if continuing, this document clearly specifies who the owner of the consignment is and the term of the contract of carriage. When exporting to a new customer, we must use a bill of lading. This allows us to retain ownership of the goods until we decide to release them to the customer. It is risky to release the goods before a full payment is made unless we are fully confident in the customer credit worthiness. Bill of lading provide us with documentary security and greater control over our consignment. I've already talked about the company, I talk about the merchandise, I talk about what we want to do in the international trade. I already talked about the Incoterm and the mode of transport. And now we're going to be focusing on the merchandise route. So from Galileo Pupuy, where the, the merchandise will be shipped from the factory of sugar in Galileo to the Buenos Aires custom office in truck. So anything that could happen in between Galileo to the Buenos Aires custom office is on the seller. He will be liable to all the things that could happen there, and he's responsible. His obligation is still not ended. So, in the Buenos Aires Custom Office, the custom broker will fill out the declaration form, carry out checks to see if the goods are restricted or banned, and meet the requirement prior to shipment. Once everything is done, the shipping company will load the goods on board the vessel at the port of loading and finally get shipped to the port of destination. Once the goods are loaded and get shipped to the port of destination, that is when the seller obligation ends. He wouldn't be liable to anything else. He wouldn't be doing anything else. So that all that happened from that moment, it'll be on the buyer side. So once the once the good arrives into Auckland port, the goods pass through custom at arriving country, then get released through custom, and finally get cleared through custom. And since the condition is CFR, as I already said, all this is in charge of the buyer. So getting the merchandise from the port to the factory of the buyer is going to be on him. So he will be liable to other things. He will be paying the truck like we did from Carilewa to Buenos Aires. He will have to do the same thing. Now I'm going to be talking about one of the most important parts in an exportation, which is the payment. In this case, we have chosen a letter of credit, and we have chosen to use a letter of credit for this transaction because although we have built close and trustworthy relationship with our buyer in New Zealand, this is one of our first major export operation, and we want to ensure maximum security like we have done with the mode of transport. All we care most about, the thing we care the most about is both security and safety. We want to be sure that everything is going to be okay, nothing is going to go wrong. So even though we got to do more things, our thing will be it's lower, we will do it because safety first. An LC provides us with a bank-backed guarantee of payment as long as we comply with the terms and conditions established in the document. This instrument gives us greater control and maximize and minimize risk while we continue strength, strengthening our commercial relationship with our New Zealand customer. So even though a letter of credit is more expensive, it's a safe bet. So it doesn't matter about the price. What it matters is things be done correctly. Keeping with the important information, we are going for the documents, and the documents are really, really important. Like you could be lack of one document, but it could be the most important, and you wouldn't be exporting at all. So I'm gonna first say the harmonized system code for my merchandise, which for sugar is in the chapter 17. Why sugar specifically? So as it has its own harmonized system code, it has per applications needed. So it will need an application for a certificate of good manufacturing practices for food export, and this regimen belongs to the National Institute of Food. We need that so the buyer will know that our merchandise is safe to eat. Then I'm going to go for the mandatory procedures, which is the application for a certificate of food manufacturing practices for food export, sanitary certificate at time of export, export with packaging, Argentine food sales certificate. Even though I just said that we are going to export white sugar and this has just mentioned wood, is this is not about our merchandise specifically, it's more about the container because the container we're just going to be have wood on the inside. So this is more to make sure that that wood that is inside the container is safe. It doesn't have any kind of disease and doesn't have any plague, any bug, anything that could be bad for the commerce. So now I'm gonna go with the custom documents, which like the custom declaration, and that will show the value and description of the goods that are being carried from origin to destination. Then we have the bill of lading, and this is the document that carried issues to us to confirm that our goods were received in good condition and are ready for shipment. It also confirms that the carrier will deliver the goods to the consignee. Then I'm going to go with one of the most important, and it's the packing list. The packing list is one of the main documents used when shipping ocean freight. It summarizes what is being shipped, the quantities, at and the destination. When shipping is booked, several documents must be completed, including the packing list and the bill of lading. The packaging list travels with the cargo and helps the freight forwarder, custom, and the receiver clearly understand the concept of the shipment. Any mistake in this document could cause delays during the clearance of destination because they might read that you said that you were exporting sugar, but you have something else. So and you have sugar and something else, and they wouldn't they would read the other thing and they would say where is it. So you have to be exactly on the things that you put there. So if you commit any mistake, it could have really big problems. And the invoice need of the pro forma invoice, the commercial invoice. And for the last but not least important, I'm going to be talking about the intermediaries in both. So we have the custom broker, which is the custom broker that the exporter will have and the importer will have. They both will have custom broker. The freight forwarder is going to be the one who will be in charge of the merchandise. One is at the port of destination of the port of origin. They will be the one moving the merchandise one place to other. Then we have the transport company. They will be the one that will ship the merchandise. Without them, the merchandise will not have arrived into the destination port. We have Senasa, which is the one that's going to give us to certificate that the wood inside of the container is safe. Then we have the email, there's going to be the one in charge of saying that our merchandise, the sugar that we are importing is safe. Then the banks, which is one of the most important part on a letter of credit, is going to be the one who will be almost in charge in everything. So it's a pretty important part. And the custom authorities are the one who's going to be doing all the custom stuff. So this is the end. I hope I made myself clear, and this is it.